I want you to chew that bone right there. I knew when she came over here. Hey, Wanda. Can you hear me? Hey, Sharon. Hey, Wanda.
Hi.
You may be folding that too hard, Wanda. I've got my craft board. I'm going to show you. Let me shut Siri up. Siri's trying to talk to me. Hey, Bonnie. I'll show you, Wanda. We're about to get started here. I'm going to give it a couple of minutes to get people here. Let me switch over to my other screen here. Hey, guys. My aunt doesn't want to be on camera, but she's here with me, so she may be helping me out and handing me stuff here as we go along. I'm going to give it a couple of minutes to let some people join in. We're still got a minute to go before we were supposed to be live anyway. Anybody have any questions about anything else? Yeah, Wanda, I've got craft board here on the under the project camera right now. I'm not going to pull it out to show you, but where I decided, I know I said that I wasn't going to do the box because we've already been over it, but I am going to put the box together for anybody that may have missed it and using the craft board so that you guys can see how to do that. If yours is cracking or something like that, you may be folding it too hard. You may not need to fold it backwards and forwards. Hey, Annette. Bonnie says hi. Hi. Okay. Well, there goes my notification. So people just got notified that we're live. So let's give it another minute or two. I'm going to transition over, guys, and go over to Winter Winter Chicken Dinner if you guys want to play. Does anybody want to play that this week? Nobody's saying anything. I know there's a slight delay too, though. Let me switch over to my project camera and I'll show you what Winter Winter Chicken Dinner gets today. Hi, Catherine. Thanks for joining. Okay, Winter Winter Chicken Dinner, of course, is going to get their $1 million bar. Then I have some pocket cards here. And guys, this is just a big assortment that you can use in these explosion boxes and things. Or on cards. These are a lot of fun. Then I do have some stickabilities. These are a happy birthday and things like that. And I got those to go with this cake. It's a cake with the rings and all that so that you can do a photo book for somebody's birthday, a wedding, whatever you want to do. But I did get happy birthday because not everybody always has weddings, but we always have birthdays. So that's what Winter Winter Chicken Dinner is going to get tonight. So, and there's a good possibility that if I can fit it into a box that you may get the explosion box that I make. Hey, Norma. So I'm not going to stamp anything in mine. You guys can do whatever you need to do with yours. But hi, Claudia. I'm not going to be stamping anything in mine, so whoever gets it can give it away. The only thing that'll be stamped on it is my handcrafted by me on there. Hi, Neela. Hey, Mary. Nice to see everybody. I just want to remind everybody that tonight that we're going to be working on this explosion box. This is the private file. This is the Patreon file. Nobody can open this one, so if you're trying to open it, it's not going to open for you. This box is what we're going to be putting together, okay? And we're going to go over each one of the elements so that you can put that box together. I've got everything cut and ready to go, and I am going to do the base. I know I said I wasn't going to, but I am going to put the base together for those of you who missed it last week, so you'll know how to do that. You can change your elements, you can stamp your elements, there's several things you can do, and this box is not going to be full so that it can be personalized. I did make another flower. This is the gardenia flower, and I just used colored paper instead of white, so you guys can go back and check on doing that. The paper that I'm using today, in case anybody is interested or they want to try to make another one, is Die Cuts with the View. This is the Primrose stack. I think this is a new stack from Michaels. And we have a Michaels link, so you guys will have that if you need it. We'll get you a link for that. Right, this is the gardenia flower that we did a couple of weeks ago. So you guys should have the file for that. If not, just ask us. We'll get you the file unless it's a Patreon only file. In the public file that most of you guys got, it's going to tell you if you're a Patreon, you must be a Patreon member to get the full file. But I am going to do all the elements. So some of the elements I do, if you're not a Patreon, you won't have. But some of them are public and you can find them and put them in. You'll just have to size them down. You're going to use your posy papers. That's going to be pretty, Neela. That'll be very pretty. You have it, Angela? Great. Great. So you guys will know what this is going to come out like. So you can cut it and you'll know by looking at it what pieces were cut from which one of the papers, and you can switch it up and make it your own. But I went ahead and put my gardenia together. That's what's going to go on top of the box. So just in case you guys were wondering. So let's go ahead and do Winter, Winter Chicken Dinner and get that out of the way. Again, you get your $1 Million bars, your stickabilities for the birthday cake book, and some pocket cards. And if I can get it in the box, you will get the pop-up box that I make. If I can get it to lay flat enough in there, you'll get it with that. So, Winter, Winter Chicken Dinner, the way that works, let me switch over for you guys. I am going to reveal a question under the Winter, Winter Chicken Dinner banner here. Yes, chocolate. And whoever answers the question after I do the countdown, the first person to answer correctly will win Winter, Winter Chicken Dinner. Okay? And the question is, what are the last 2 new products released by Cricut this month? Anybody? Can anybody answer that? You know, if you go to Cricut.com and hit new, it'll show you the new products. That's one. There's 2. They did 2. What are the 2 items that they released? Several of you have one of them. The pattern is right. I'm going to take that from Neela because the cartridge adapter was one new product. They did 3. There you go. There's a Sport Flex. I see those too. So Neela got cartridge adapter and patterned HTV. So that was in there. The gel pens were also in there. That's also a new product. The last 2 were the Sport Flex and the... That's okay, Bonnie. We don't count spelling here. We'll make it out. Okay, Neela, so you're the lucky winner. I think you're a Patreon member. Is that correct? Because we're not sticklers for exactness and all that here either, because handmade is handmade, and we always have little things that go wrong no matter what. So I'm going to accept the answers. Let me leave that page. And we are going to start on this. Neela, you are a Patreon, so I've got your address. No need to do anything. I'll just send it out to you. Let's get started on the explosion box. We're going to start with the lid. I'm going to set some of my stuff to the side, guys, so that we can work on this. And if you're doing ribbon, I'm going to show you how to do the ribbon on there as well. In the file, I told you guys on Wednesday, if you were doing ribbing that you needed to cut. Let me transition over. I told you that if you wanted to do ribbon that you needed to cut these panels because they were not in the file, and they are not. And I cut these, I believe it was 1 1/4, yes, 1 1/4 inch wide by 4 inches long. So you'll need 4 of those if you do ribbon on your box. If you don't do ribbon on the box, not going to need it. And yes, Wanda, I have a few cracks on mine too. That's going to happen. But you can take like a small sanding block or like a nail file, just one that's real fine, and you can get all of those little places off. Trust me, they're not going to be noticed, but it's just bending the cardstock either too hard and too fast. The craft board and poster boards are going to do that. And all I'm doing here, guys, is folding in the 4 little tabs. And I thought about also, while I'm folding this for you guys, I thought about, and it's up to you guys if you want me to, I'll put a second lid in there that has this piece with the score line put on it. So that all you have to do is fold it up after you put the ribbon on. But the problem is, if we do that, you're going to have to cut your ribbon longer and fold it over this and then fold it in. So that's up to you guys. Yes, you can ink the edges and do that, Claudia. I inked the edges on this flower and several of the other elements in this box. I used the, I don't know if it'll focus on that, Y28 Copic alcohol marker. That's what I used to antique that with this paper. So that would be pretty on there as well. Because I even told my aunt, I wish that this came in an ivory. We have black, white, and craft board. This box, I would love to have this craft paper in, or craft board in ivory. So once you have that folded up, you're just going to put your glue on the tabs. Most of you already have your boxes made. And you're just going to hold them in place. Keep it as square as you possibly can keep this, guys. And it does take a little bit longer for art glitter glue to dry on the craft board. That was another thing I want to let you guys know. The store will be opening with art glitter glue coming this week. And it will be stocked and ready for you guys to purchase this week. Also, I don't know if any of you guys have went over to craftingwithapril.co and looked around, but I am putting inventory in there. We have some Doris embossing folders. Those are coming as soon as I can get them in there. I am waiting on my shipping app to take effect so that I can release some stuff to you guys. I have the inventory, but I can't get my shipping app to work yet. So as soon as I get it working, I'll open that up. And then I forgot my glue dots. Let me grab those. I just use these to hold my ribbon because when I put the art glitter glue and that panel in there, it's going to hold it just fine. But I just get a couple of glue dots, and I'm going to do my best to get this center. And I'm just using my grid lines on my board here. That looks about right, if I can get it to stay. And I'm just pressing it down on the inside. Then I'm just going to bring it around. Okay. And it's a little short on the side, doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be exact because you're covering that up. If I can see my glue dots here. Just need something to hold it until I get it in place. So that's ribbon number 1, and then you're going to do the same thing on the other side. And I don't know why I like to do 2 glue dots, but I do. And I came loose. Supposed to hold it until I get my panel in. And then the other. Is everybody with me so far? And then I'm just going to put some glue on the inside of that and place that panel. Okay? And you're going to do that on all 4 sides. So that's how the lid goes together. And I'm going to pass this off to my aunt and let her glue those 4 panels in for me. And we're going to move to the base of the box. And I have my butterflies here that's going to go on that base too. Once we have the lid together, then we'll finish it up and move on to putting things in this. If I can find my score lines, there they are. And then again, you're going to fold these on the score line. And so that it gets a flop, you want to do it on, fold it both ways. And like, I'm getting those cracks too, but I didn't even notice them until you set that Wanda on my other. And it's just because of the type of paper, the fibers in it. Hi, Alice. No problem. I'm glad you got to join us. I know you were excited about this box. And I decided I would go over and do the base again for those who missed it last week, because it is a very important element of the box. If the base isn't right, the box won't be right. So I decided to cover it again. So you've got your box folded both ways, so you've got good flop on it. And then, of course, in the middle, you have a score line down here. And you're going to bring these together. And I find it easier, like I said, to do it to the outside and then fold it inside. Okay? And that's how you do those. And you want to do that on all 4 corners. know it looks odd because I keep flipping the base around, but that's just so I can fold to the outside. To me, it's easier to fold to the outside, a mountain fold, than it is to do a valley fold on something like this. Okay, now we have the panels inside the box. And the next thing we're going to do, that's the lid, is put our flower on top so it has time to take and hold. And like I said, for those of you who were not here, this is, yes, the scoreboard does help Neela, especially on craft board. This is the gardenia flower. I just cut it out of colored paper, and we're just going to glue it to the top. And then I have a little plastic butterfly. Just going to give it a squeeze, and I'm going to glue that on the top, and that will complete the lid. I'm passing that off so that we can save some time because these elements do take a little while. And then I've cut my ribbon for the base, and I'm going to do the same thing. I am going to, actually, I'm going to use a tape runner on this because of the base. I don't want it flopping around once it's opened up. So but you guys, if you want to glue it, whatever it is that you want to do, how you want to do that, I'm just going to run a tape runner down my ribbon here so that it is put right down the center. And if you're going to stamp your name or something like that on your box, now's the time to do it. So we have that piece on there. I'm just going to fold it to the inside on both sides. That doesn't look straight. I guess when I just flipped it over. And now I'm going to do the other piece of ribbon. This will just make it quicker than trying to deal with all those glue dots and glue. I'm going to make it hold a little bit better too. For the lid, it's just so short and you just take it on and off, but this will be opening and closing, so you'll want to secure it a little bit better. Okay, now we have our base and we're ready to rock and roll. Okay, so you have your 3 cross pieces. Yeah, this is how the lid looks now that it's dry, guys. Okay. And inside is finished. You don't see the ribbons because we put those panels. And you're not going to see these either because we're going to cover those. I mean, they're not going to be covered yet because we're going to flip these things up, but they will be covered. Each one of your cross pieces need to be folded. And if you want, use your bone folders and fold these both ways. I didn't find it necessary to fold these both ways because they're not as heavy as the craft board. And this is going to be the bottom of, or the front of my box. So I'm just going to glue that down in the center. Like so. And then I've got, what I did is I went bold on the bottom, and then I went kind of neutral in the middle, and then I kind of brightened it up for the top piece. So, but again, you guys can use any papers, do this any way you want, embellish any way you want. I think I'm going to turn this way and have the flowers here. Yeah, I like that. And here. Again, you're just going to glue this down in the center. You'll want to make sure you get enough glue and keep this because this needs to be solid. You don't want this part moving around. You want to be a little OCD with this part. Make sure you don't have any glue squishing out because you want these parts to move. So get those on there. Hey, Joan came in. I missed you coming in, Joan. Bonnie, honestly, on something like this, if you just get one paper stack, one single paper stack, the only thing that did not come out of this stack was the craft board. Okay? That's the only thing. If you pick papers from one single stack, as you see, they show you all these papers. All these papers go together and they match perfectly well. So as long as you choose, no matter what you choose out of here, and they have some bolds with this in here, and they have like the music note one here that's kind of bold, and the rest are soft. I'm calling this a kind of a vintage French theme. Then everything's going to match, no matter which ones you pick. What I did is I went through and I looked at this element and I said, okay, I want the color change card to be cut out of this, and I want this to be cut out of that. And I picked it per element. However it ends up in the box, it doesn't matter. It's going to match. So if you're not really good at picking colors from one stack to the next, it takes time. I mean, I've been working with crafts for over 40 years, so it takes time to learn how to do that. So often when I'm in a hurry, I'm just going to stick to one stack. I'm not going to jump all over the place and go from one to the next. It's very easy just to match one solid color. Like I didn't have the ivory. I wanted ivory. So my next best choice for this was the white, to make the flower on the top and the ribbon and stuff pop. The craft was too dark for it, and I didn't want to do black. So, I mean, it's all in what you like. It doesn't have to match. That's it. This is handcrafted by you, what you like. Doesn't matter what somebody else thinks about it. It's what you like. I got that off just a tiny bit. Let me redo that. That doesn't look. Some of your crosses, guys, the crosses go a certain way. If they're not matching up, flip it around. That's not the way I wanted to put this one down, but that's the way it's saying it goes. I did not change these. All I did was size it up. This was a modified, I just modified this part of Cricut's explosion box. I just modified the base piece. So, all right, and now you should have a box that will fold up into a position to put the lid on, okay? Looks like one of mine may have gotten stretched. I don't know. If I have to trim it, I will. I don't know what happened there. I may have bumped mine, but I cut mine from my file, not yours. So let's just go ahead and move on. I've got all my pieces ready to go. So if you're following along with me, you're going to want your yin-yang heart pieces, which is the heart of one color, heart of another color, and this little funky looking piece. So everybody that's trying to follow along, you'll want this piece. And there's a score line. My pattern is coming to the inside because this is going to be the base glued down and nobody's going to see it. I want to see the pretty paper. So if you're working with a double-sided paper, it's probably not going to matter much to you. But you're just going to fold it on your score lines like so. and then unfold it. Then on the back side, the wrong side of the paper, you're going to glue the heart down. And this is the one where I told you guys on Wednesday you need to cut those hearts in 2 different colors for the yin-yang part to work out for you. And I'm an overgluer. I know I am, but I have this fear of things popping apart on me. And now you should have yours looking like this. This part's going to be glued down. That's going to be your front. That's your inside. And then they're going to connect like so. That one's very easy, very simple. And then you're going to glue that down in the center of your card. I'm just making sure I've got a good center on it. That looks good to me. Make sure you get the edges pretty good, but you don't want to put enough to where it's going to squish out. And then that should be secured down. There you go. And that gives you the yin-yang heart in the center. Okay, so that's going to be your base. You can set that to the side. And the next part that we're going to do, let me get my, we're going to do the box in the center. So you're going to need this piece. It's the piece that has the weird little pieces at the top. Is everybody with me who's following along? Am I leaving anybody behind? You're going to fold this piece down and this piece. Everything is going to be folded towards you if you're looking at the pretty side of your box for now. Because that's the top so that we can get in there and close it up. There is a very small faint line for the tab here. Then you have a tab here. Okay, Alice, you can watch back, and that's the perfect beauty of that, is because it is recorded and we will play it back. All of a sudden, I couldn't remember if I started the recording, and I did, so we're good. And I just love the little stamps and the postmarks on this paper here. So those are folded up, those are folded down, and that's just so that we can access the box on the inside to do our closure. And then you have your, everything is mount and fold on the panels. Okay? And then you're going to glue that tab to the side, keeping your box square. Okay, Dorothy, you were only able to get, I'll get it for you. I'll make sure that you get the file so it will open for you. Because you should have it. Can you open the file from Patreon? Have you tried opening it from there? If you can't open it from there, let me know, and I'll make sure that I'll get you a file. If I have to save it for you separately, get you a whole new file number, I will. And then you just want to put that tab in there and then go inside, guys, and press it down. Okay, somebody else said that too, and I posted it, I think, in, I'll double check it. I may have put the wrong number up, and if I did, I apologize, and I'll get it for you. You haven't found it at all yet, Kathleen? It will be in, it's on where I advertise doing the box itself, in chat, and on the Facebook groups. The public file is there. And Dorothy, it's also in the Patreon group. If you're in the Patreon group there, the Patreon file is posted with that one where I announced that we were going live at 7:30. I think I did that. If not, I can do that real quick. Let me open that up. We're going to put the chocolate in there. There's that. Let's see. I'm opening up another Design Space window, guys. Give me just a moment so I can see if these guys can get this file. Yeah, it's in this file. Let's see. Dorothy, can you open up your Facebook Patreon page? Kathleen, are you a Patreon? Okay, Dorothy, I just posted it. I'm going to tag you. Let's see. Dorothy, aren't you a Patreon? Are you guys not in the Patreon group, or do you have, I bet Facebook has probably turned off tagging. You guys should be in the Patreon group. Okay, Kathleen, you're mobile. That's the problem. Log off your Facebook mobile, okay? And go into Safari or Chrome and open Facebook in a browser. Then click on the Facebook link for the Design Space link there, and it will open in the app, and then you can save it. So if you guys that are mobile, you cannot, whenever you click on a Design Space link, if you are clicking on that link and it's telling you to download the app, you need to log out and go to a browser Facebook in the browser. But you're just going to fold the inside of the box after you put your little chocolate in there. And then this heart has a slit in it at the top and at the bottom of one. And you're just going to push those together. And it leaves a little curve at the top. It's supposed to. But that's going to be your little candy box. Okay, Dorothy, you should be able to see. Did you see where I posted the link to the box in the Patreon group? Okay, well, I don't want to leave anybody behind, but we'll move on. But I will make sure that you guys get the file. If you're Patreons, you're going to get that yin-yang heart. If you're not a Patreon, you have to be a Patreon to get the full file. And that's what's going on there. So this is the color change card piece. I'm sorry, the shaker card piece. And you're going to want to put a small bead of glue all the way around the edge of your shaker card piece. And then you're going to apply your transparency piece over that. You should have a piece of transparency that cut to fit right on there. And that's so your goodies can't fall out that we're going to put in there. And then you should have a backing piece, and it could be patterned or white. It's up to you which way that you turn that. And I am going to leave mine patterned because it's light colored on there. And this is where you're going to need the foam tape. And I've got the little bitty narrow stuff, 1/4 inch. And I am just going to go on this outer edge. I forgot to get my scissors out. These are the ones that I had, so that's what I'm going to use. Those red-handled ones down there. Yeah, these are the Tim Holtz ones where the sticky doesn't stick to them. And you just want to make sure that you don't see any of your foam tape on the outside edge. If you do, just kind of trim it up. And you're going to go around all 4 sides. Making sure, especially if you're putting glitter, you don't want to have any gaps, guys, at all. I'm not using glitter in mine, so it doesn't have to be precise. But you just need the foam tape. Okay, Dorothy, I'll help you as soon as we get done, honey. I apologize that you couldn't access it prior. We'll get it fixed. We'll make sure that you're taken care of. Make sure you don't put that in the public, Bonnie. If you did, please delete it because it's not for public. But if it's in the Patreon group, that's fine. And then I just have some little sequins, I guess you call them. I think they're for fingernails. I don't know. I got these at the craft show. And I'm just going to dump a bunch of different ones and colors in there. You'll want to, of course, match up whatever you're doing. If I can get it to turn. There we go. But I'm just going to dump some colors in here with some of these sequins. Make it fun. I might dump them all, I don't know. So I think that's full enough. Let me get some of these pink ones to go with my rose paper. But you can use beads, you can use whatever you want in there. Just some fun colors. And then once you have those done, you're going to place your backing. I'm keeping the pattern to the inside, so I'm going to place that right on top, lining it up, and press it down. And then you have your shaker card. Okay. Then that is going to go into the box on, I believe, wherever you want to put it really. I think I'm going to place it on the right edge, right here. Just a little glue. And then we're going to line that up and place it on that flap. I do have some little bitty tiny pieces trying to fall out of there, but that's okay. It's got plenty in it. Just for some color. You guys can see that flashing around in there. Okay, thanks, Bonnie. I appreciate you. All right, so then we're going to move over next to the pop-up gift card element. We put that to the side again. You'll have two pieces that look like this, and I cut these off the same page, but I cut them out of different portions of the page so that I would get two different looks from one side to the other. And you're just going to fold them like an L shape, whatever, valley fold, with your cutout to the top. You want the pretty to the inside on this one. Okay. And then we're going to flip one of them over and, oops, not there. I'm trying to tell you guys, don't put any across the top. Just right here where the curve starts and down and around the bottom. And then again, right here where the curve is, starting and down. You want to leave that top open so you have no glue up here at all. And then you're just going to glue these two pieces. You're going to glue those together. Get them lined up good. And it's going to look just like that. Okay? Where you've got your notch. And it's going to go in that base just like that. And I put mine on this side of the card. This is the back side of one of the cross pieces, so that gives this a decorative piece. And you can do this either way. You can, this with the lines, you can write on it, but this is the correct way for this piece to go. If I put it in this way, then it's going to be upside down on this other side. So you determine which way you want yours to go. Like this one's going to be upside down. So one of mine's going to be upside down no matter what I do. So I'm just going to go with it. So you're just going to glue up both pieces. All right. And we're just going to center them up. You want the fold in the fold there. And it should match up perfectly to the top of that piece. Just give it a good press. And come over here and give that one a good press. That way when you open this up, it should allow that one to pop up. And it's still wet, so it's probably going to take a minute. Try not to let it stick down right there in the middle. You want it to pop, okay? And just to make sure that you didn't glue your bottom too deep, you want to put in a credit card or a gift card. This is an old gift card I use for a lot of things, just for measurements, to make sure that it's fitting down in there before that glue dries. That way I can pull it back out. Okay? So that takes care of that portion. And next we're going to move over to the color change card. Is everybody following me so far? Is everything clear? Even those of you who did not get to cut it, if you have questions, ask them so I can answer them, so when you are on the playback, you know that you have it correct. Okay, we're going to start with the transparency piece and this piece that looks like a very narrow brim top hat. Okay, it has a score line of a circle in it. That is your stamping area. This is your stamping area. Where that score line is on the inside is the stamping area. And I cut mine backwards because I cut it out of Cricut cardstock and my score's on the textured side, but I know where it needs to go on my stamp, so because I didn't move it from the demo that I did. And this is why I said if you're doing this element, you're going to need a stamping platform, a Misty, a Tim Holtz, something, because you need to be able to get that in there. And I forgot to take my stamp out last time. I've got ink on the inside, but it's not going to come off. So I'm going to place my cardstock in, and because I'm using the stamping platform from Tim Holtz, Tonic Studios, I've got that little lip, so mine fits in there perfectly for my piece of white cardstock, but you're going to line that up, and you're just going to stamp this one with regular ink. I'm using the Memento Tuxedo Black, and you're going to stamp this. Okay. And if you don't get a good impression, that one looks pretty good, but I want it to be a little darker. So I'm going to ink it up again and stamp. Okay. Then you're done with that ink. Unless you're doing some more stamping, you're finished with it. Then you're going to need your StazOn ink. Like I told you guys on Wednesday, you need StazOn. This is jet black on that. And you can leave that in there if you want. I'm going to move mine. And then I'm putting my transparency in there. And you need to make sure that you magnetize that down so it doesn't move. And I'm just going to ink up my stamp again with StazOn. And I'm going to press it down. And it looks like I got a good crisp impression, but since I have ink on my platform that I didn't clean off, I am going to stamp again to be sure. This is why you need a stamping platform, guys. The alignment of these two pieces have to be precise. I believe this is a Stampin' Up stamp. I believe it's in the Succulents. So that's where this stamp came from. Let me see if I can double check that for you. Yes, it's in the Oh So Succulent. I think this is discontinued, guys, but you might be able to find it on eBay. This is the one I used. I didn't use this piece of it. These are layered stamps. But that's the one that I picked for this. I forgot to get that out. And you see why it's so important to have that stamping platform. So when I put these two pieces together, they line up perfectly. And that's what you need in order for this card to work. You're also going to need a couple of Copic markers. I'm probably going to touch it with this gold Y28 that I used on the edges of the flowers and some of the other elements in the card. And I'm using Toast E34. And I'm using, I think that says Bougainvillea. R43. I can't read it. Can you see it? Bougainvillea. Okay. That's what this is. And then you're just going to set your transparency piece to the side, and you're just going to color in on this flower. And I'm just doing the whole thing in one color, and then I'm just going to touch it with some other color just to give it some depth. How you color yours is going to be totally up to you. It dries pretty quick if you're using the Copic markers. Chameleons work too, Neela. Yes, you can use watercolors, guys. You can use whatever you want to use. The Stampin' Up! Watercolor pencils. You can use chalks, whatever it is you want to use. Spectrum Noirs, Spectrum Noir sparkles. That's what I used on the other one, was the Spectrums, the sparkles. This is the demo that I did and showed you guys Wednesday. This one's done with the sparkles. So I've colored that with the pink. I may have to touch it again with pink. I'm just going to go in here with a little bit in the centers of my flowers, just to give it a little depth. I'm going to turn this succulent into a flower if it kills me, but I didn't want to do green with the pink box. And I ran out of time and didn't want to search for a stamp that would fit in my stamping area. But it's coming out pretty. See if I can get the camera to focus on it. Just doing a little highlight to give it some depth. A little old gold here. And I'm not going to take the time to do all the blending and stuff that everybody says to do because of time purposes. I am going to hit it again with a little bit more of the Bougainvillea. Just darken it up some. Like nature, you have light and dark petals. And that's all there is to that. That's pretty quick. So now that I have my flower done, okay, we just gave it some depth. Sharpies will work. You just want to go light-handed with them because they absorb fast, as we know, especially the oils. And now we're going to glue right on this top edge. If you're using art glitter glue, it's going to dry clear. It's not going to be seen. You're perfectly fine. Actually, I messed up. Please, I hope you guys didn't do that. It needs to go into this piece first. Hopefully I can get it in there and not make a mess. No. Let me wipe that off, guys. I apologize. I got ahead of myself there. You want to put that inside this piece. It just folds in half. And you want to slip this piece in between. And it is a snug fit, it's supposed to be. Okay? And then you just pull it up to the stops. That's what those two hinges are on there. Those are your stop pieces. So it's in between, so you can see. I just folded the piece over and fed that card up through it. Now you want to glue the top, along the top there. And place your transparency over that, keeping it lined up. Just like that. Okay? It will dry clear. It's okay. Questions are good. You guys should ask questions. But you're just going to get that and let it dry for a minute. And I thought I had some ribbon here. Oh, there it is. Then you're just going to take a small piece of ribbon, and you can use just about any kind of ribbon. I don't know if these will cut it. Yeah. Probably, I don't know, just a couple of inches. You can always trim it off if it's too long. And then you're just going to feed it through the hole and tie that off. And just knot it so it doesn't come untied when they pull on it. Just like that. And then you, of course, can trim it up and do it however you need to do it. And that's what that's going to look like at this point. I lost my little ring. There it is. Before I put this together, I got myself off just a hair. Make sure yours is lining up. There we go. I think when I tied my knot, I pulled it loose. There we go. See if you can re-glue that right there for me. I'm having to re-glue mine because I pulled it off when I did my ribbon. You guys don't pull it too tight and do that. This is the decorative ring. I don't know what color you cut yours out of. I messed up and cut mine out of white, and it was such a stark white against this paper that I colored it with the Copic marker, the gold color, to kind of antique it up, and it ended up matching perfectly to the other. But you want to glue this on before you, because if your glue gets on the inside, it's going to get on your transparency. You don't want that on your transparency. The Copic markers are available at Michael's and Hobby Lobby. Again, this was the liquid gold. Y28. I'm sorry, Lionel gold. Matches that stack perfectly. Once you've glued that on and that's dried, you're going to fold this in half. Pretty side to the outside. And it is scored, so you guys should be able to do that in the score. Then you're going to push your transparency. This is where your color change comes in. Down over the, it's just going, this piece is going to the inside. So we've just kind of created a little pocket for it, okay? That's how this works. And you'll want to push that down in there. Oops. I may have gotten you to glue that a little too far. That's okay. I think it'll still work. So you should have something looking like this. Then you're going to insert it into the base and close it. Before you glue anything down, make sure that it is in the center, okay? And that you've got it centered up like you want it, whatever stamp that you used. And then holding it like I am here, flip it over and only glue this piece. Don't get glue on anything else. This is just the back piece of that center mechanism. And I moved mine, so I'm going to have to double check it again. You just want to glue only on this piece right here. Not on the piece that you colored or anything else. This is the only place you want to glue. I'm just going to make sure I'm lined up again. And I am. And then I am going to lay this down and close it. And then just kind of press it down. You basically just want to make sure that your card piece, your stamp shows in the middle. and you're not gluing anything but that back piece down, you need to have a space on the edge, on both edges. You don't want to just lay it in there totally centered, because it's going to depend on how you stamp and where you stamped it as to where that needs to end up. Okay? So I'm just going to pull that up just to make sure that I don't have it, I'm not gluing it. And then you're going to put glue just on that front piece. Ah, that is wrong. I am messing up big time today, guys. I'm sorry. Let me get that glue off. This is where you just glue the edges. Ah, I can't believe I did that. I have a gum eraser. See, I got ahead of myself. Just make sure you don't mess up like I did. Don't put it on that front. I hope you guys didn't do that. If you did, just wipe it off. If you're quick, you're good. It's good. There we go. You want to glue here only on these edges. What I was just telling you. Don't get it on your mechanism, just on that slight edge. And then fold this piece up and press down your edges. This edge is a little tight for me, so I may have to do it twice. Because that mechanism is thick, so you may have to hold it up and pinch that edge to get it to glue. Because we have 3 or 4 pieces of cardstock that we're sticking in there. So you're going to have to kind of finagle with it without getting it on your mechanism. That's the main important part. So it should be glued there, and you should be able to pull your card out of the center. Okay? I got one little place that's popped open here, so I'm going to, if I get off camera, it's because I'm trying to see it and not get glue on my mechanism. I'm just going in there right there on that edge. Just kind of pinching that down. Yay! That's one of the most complicated parts of this box. And we're done with it. To me, that's one of the hardest pieces to make. And now we're going to, this is, like I said, you're going to put an embellishment here. I think I cut some extra pieces, but I'm going to wait to the end just to be sure. I'm going to put something there or leave that blank for whoever gets the card. With the ribbon to the end, you want to glue this in here, and that's going to hide where your ribbon ends. Okay, if you put ribbon on the box itself. This is where I was supposed to be gluing, where I put it on the front. And then you're just going to place that into the box. And that's going to complete the first side, except for right here. I think I've got an extra heart or two. I think I'm going to put a heart there. I know that's extra. I'm going to put a heart there, and then if you want to stamp on it, or you can do that. Hearts and flowers. Just so it's pretty. Side 1. Everybody with me? It's going to take a little work to get it some loosening up. Once it's done a few times, it works pretty good. There we go. It's supposed to be tight, so make sure yours is, because it will loosen up. And if you've got it in there loose, once it tightens up, once it loosens up from playing with it, it may come all the way out. So you want to make sure you get that tight. Okay, and then we're going to move over to this side, which is the right side. Let's do the next side up. I'm going to go here. I'm going to turn it with this facing me and do this side. And we're going to start with the pinwheel on that one. That piece looks like this. Oh, hi. What's her name, Neela? And for this piece, you guys are going to need a small brad. Just something small. This may be too small. I don't know if it is. I'll grab another. And you've got your windmill piece. I am going to fold mine over the hole and then I'll fluff it back out. I'm not putting a hard crease in it, but I found that this was the easiest way to do this because it's so tiny. And it is just a decorative mechanism. It will move, but yeah, it's fun. And then we're going to fold each side with the hole down towards that center hole. Getting them lined up. I'm going to set my brad down so I could do that. Getting them to stay in a line is one of my issues. I'm just going to use my flower tool. This is the one that's got the slot in it so that you can quill. And I'm just going to run each one of them over that to help me keep it in line while I get it going. Just kind of flatten it out because it's going to get a little bit flat anyway, but it'll still spin. And then you can hold it and get that brad in there. Okay. The next thing you want to do is find out about where your center is or where you want yours to end up. And where is my piercing tool? There we go. Find out where you want it and just poke a hole in that card right there. And then press the brad through and open it up on the other side so it won't fall off. And as I told you guys on Wednesday, cut some extra panels. There were some panels in there. Just cut you some extras for things like this. And I am going to place this one here, or I think I'm going to use that heart. Maybe at an angle. I don't know. I have an extra circle in here too. I kind of like that. I have a couple of circles that I saved from other things, like the inside of the other card where it cuts out. I kind of like that. I think I'm going to put that one in there. And that's just to cover the brad so it doesn't come loose. But it'll still move. You don't have to worry about that. It'll still move. You glue that down. And that completes that portion. Then we're going to move to the envelope. That piece looks like this. Okay? And for this one, you're going to need a piece of ribbon, just a small piece. Well, you're going to want to tie a bow. So I don't know. You can always trim it shorter if you need to. So I'm just cutting the length of the ribbon here, about 12 inches. And you're going to fold on all four sides of this, and it doesn't matter how you want to do it. I want my pretty paper to the outside. So I'm doing mountain folds. And the two without the hole go in, and then these two go this way. And just give it a push down. And then you're going to run your ribbon through and tie it. That's all there is to this one. And you can put a note in there. You can handwrite something, put a photo. Do both. Either way. Tons of things you can do with this little envelope. And it turns out really, really cute inside, all tied up. Make my bow pretty. And I'm using like an organza ribbon just so it's nice and pretty, but you don't want your bow to hang over the sides, okay? Because if it does, it's going to get caught in the corners and it's just going to crumple it up. And like I said, just snip it off. Just make it pretty. So we have a nice little bow. And then you're going to glue the back. And if you've put a photo in, you've glued it down or stuck it down, and maybe you didn't. Maybe you wanted the photo to be removable. Either way. And then I want the bow to be facing them. Am I putting that in the right place? And it goes on the second panel here. And just kind of square it up in there. Give it a press. And that portion is done. Now we need to do our back panel because this is going to be our card front, and then we need this. And that is going to be whatever you chose. I'm going to do the thanks again because that's what I had. And if you did this portion, you're going to need to glue this thanks down. And I used the old gold and went through this so that it would stand out a little bit better. And I also did it on the very much. I just took the Copic marker, the brush end, and went on the inside of the letters, and do it from the back because you don't want, if it slips, and it slips on the back, it's not a big deal, but you don't want to put a mark across your cardstock there on the fronts. But you can use, I'm using thanks here, you can use happy birthday. There are so many pop-ups in Design Space that you can use. And even if you're not a Patreon and you didn't get all the elements, there are so many of these that you can pack into this box. You're just going to size them to fit on these. Hi, Fern. Okay, and then that one folds just like this. Make sure you fold it on the score, right there where all of these little pieces are cut off. Okay, and then you're going to also open it up and fold like a Z right there, and press these so that your thanks pops up. And then we're going to glue that in. Right, this is the one I needed that panel on. I'm going to use this panel. I think I'm going to go this way with it because I want that to show there. Because this, for some reason, this card is just very short, and no matter what I did with it, it wanted to come out short right here. I don't know, maybe I do like it like that. Yes, I do. So I'm going to push this one up in there like this. I'm going to glue that panel up to the top just to cover this ribbon and give me, but if I were you, if you're using this thanks, I would cut another panel and make it a little more square for this, but it's still pretty. We can do it several ways. And then you're going to glue this top part only at first and get each one of those little tabs. And that needs to line up on the inside of the card against that back piece. Give that a second to dry. And I'm going to give those a pull up. So make sure you pull these pieces up so you know where to glue and make this piece land, okay? So that when it closes, it pushes them forward. And pops up. I'm not glued yet. I'm still drying. And then we're just going to, I'm not going to glue on the circles here, just on the edges. So there you have your pop-up. Okay. Make sure it, and then that's going to complete that side. Now we're going to move over here. If you've got your pinwheel facing you to the right. Okay. And that's where we're going to do the chocolate box, which looks like this piece. If you guys, thanks Fern, if you guys watched the Valentine card, this is the same box, but instead of the square holes in the top, I just put some round ones. I just redid the box in this file, so you wouldn't have to chase it down out of the other file. But you're going to fold your tabs on the score lines. And if you guys think I can see the score lines that good and that fast, I can't. I've just done so many mock-ups, I just know where they're at. And so your folds should end up looking like this. And then I'm going to glue the side first. Keeping the edges square. I'm going to try to anyway. Some of these things get so tiny when you do them like that, but hard to hold on to. And if you need to mash your box flat this way and then this way to press it, you can. And then I'm going to glue this bottom tab so it doesn't open up. Just right here on this edge. Just enough glue to tack it down so that when it's closed, it stays closed. Okay. Give that a minute to dry. And we need a little length of ribbon for that. Oh, that's a little too short. I want to go that short. And I have found that it's easier to press through on one side and pull it through the other and loop it than it is to tie it on this one. But you can do it either way that you want. If I can hold on to it. I'm using a wider ribbon this time too. And I put it through the wrong way. There we go. Always when you're live, it doesn't want to cooperate, right? So put it through the pretty side and bring it back through the other. And then I'm just going to thread the loops, the ends through the loop, and give it a tug. But if you want to tie a bow, you can tie a bow. But to me, this just worked better. And then this is going to hold. It holds a Ghirardelli pretty good. Okay. And then I'm just going to tuck the tail of that in. When you put this in the box, when I did my first one, I did it right. When I did the one for you guys last week, I did it wrong. So I'm going to try to make sure I get it right this time. Your ribbon to the outside of the box, not the inside. Okay? That way when the box is closed, they can pull and open the chocolate. Yes, Kathleen, you can. My hands are old too, but you can. Just takes a little patience. And you're just going to glue the back side of the box and line it up in there. Give it a press down. That's why I put my chocolate in, is so I can give it a press down and hold it, so you don't smash the box. So you'll want to have your chocolate handy to do that, or put something in there, a bone folder or something to hold it up when you give it a press. Okay? But yeah, Kathleen, if you can see here, this is a 14 by 14 area. So it's not as small as it looks. This is almost a 12 by 12 sheet of paper opened up. Some of the elements are small, but you can change them out for anything. If you can't do this element or the pinwheel element, change it for something you can do. Because this opens up possibilities for you to put anything you want into this box. Next, you're going to do your hello card. And this one's pretty easy. You're just going to fold your card in half at the ends. Okay? And then there is a score line for your hello. If you'll press it there. And it's going to give you about a natural bend right there on those. So you just got like a little Z fold. But you just want to kind of get a squared up fold right there. That's all you need for this one. And then you can pop it back up. And I did use the old gold Copic marker around this hello so that it would stand out just a little bit better. And you're going to want to glue this in all the strategic places so that it doesn't come off around the edges. And then in this, all these little, I call them chads hanging on the E's and the H's. You're going to, and the O, you're going to want to make sure you get glue on those so those don't lift up and rip off. And then you're just going to glue it onto that flag, banner, whatever you want to call it. And then that's going to give you that little pop-up hello inside the box. And then that's going to go behind the chocolate. You're just going to line that up in there. And you can ink these edges, like the back sides of your, if you're not using double-sided cardstock, you can ink these edges and watercolor them up. There are just so many things that you can do. You can chalk them. This one is a Design Space card, this Hello Fern. It is in Design Space. I just sized it down tiny. I think it's a A2 size card in Design Space. But it's on the pop-up cartridge. And then on this back side, of course, you only want to do around these edges where it's cut out. Don't glue your flag, or it's not going to pop up. And I missed a corner. How did I miss my corners? My edge. I guess my glue didn't squish enough. And then you have your little pop-up hello. That one's, Easy, easy. And let's see, I do have on the back side of that one, the next card that's going in, we're going to need to decorate that up. This is a card front, so I'm just going to place, I think this is where I placed that. Nope. This is where I lost my envelope. Am I on the right side? Hello? Yep. Okay. That's right. I just wanted to check from my other prototype that I was doing the right one. I'm just going to glue this decorative piece here. You guys put whatever you want on yours. Again, I'm just trying to pretty mine up a little bit because I'm not stamping and making it personal since I'm going to give it away. I had to come up with different ideas. But if you cut extra panels, you should have what you need. Okay, and that's just going to go there. And then we're going to put a card base here. So for that card base, you're going to need, you'll probably cut photos, but I just cut pieces because I'm pretty sure whoever gets this doesn't want my photos. But you should have all of these pieces, okay? And you may even have an extra one of these, so just decide which ones you want to use. Hi, Sue. But the answer to your question from if you didn't want to use that hello, there are several pop-ups in Design Space that are available to use. Yes, Sue, they do. And we're doing the twist and pop now. So this card is going to be, there's a score line right down the center. So you're going to fold that on the center, okay? And you want good folds on this so that your twist and pop works well. So I'm going to fold this back and forth both ways. And then you have an X down the middle that is scored. And I'm going to have to take my glasses off to see that one because I want to make sure I get it right. You want to make sure that this score is folded correctly and in the right place for your twist and pop to work. Okay, so stay on that score line. And I am folding mine in both directions so that it loosens up that cardstock. So I just do both sides and then I go to the middle so that I can make sure that it gets on the right line. Okay, and I am going to be using this to the inside of my card so that when I fold it in, you're just going to fold those in and give it a press because this is going to be against the card. So if you want to put decorative panels on it, you can, but you don't have to. And I think I'm going to on this one. I kind of like the way that that looks with the bird. And I did move pieces around on my mats, guys, with this card stack so that I could get pieces like this bird to cut out where I wanted it to in the correct position. So it takes some time, but you can do it. All you have to do is put your paper on the mat and look where this piece is, and then move your piece on the mat to cut in that position. Just going to glue those down. And I'm only putting these on, I'm putting mine on this way because I didn't want those white areas to show so much. But then you've got this strip, and you want to fold this accordion style into a W, I call it. So it's valley, mountain, valley. So you get that W fold. And I am going to fold mine both ways, like I said, because I want it to be loose. And then I'm just going to fold it back into my W. Straighten it out and put your panels on there, or your photos. So you should have photos, and I'm just going to be using panels here. Put all of those in place. And I tried to mix up the colors on this since I didn't want to do photos to send out. That little ruler up there is kind of messing with my head when I put these on. So they may or may not be straight. But you just want to give it a good press, make sure they're down good. And here's where the trick comes in on this. You are going to glue on the bottom, on this side only. So you've got your fold, and you only want to put a little bit of glue right there on that edge of the bottom only, okay? And on this side, the top. Just that top edge. And then open it back up. So you should have glue here and nowhere else. And then you're going to place and line up your twist and pop panels on those places. So they're only glued at the top. So now that when it closes, it twists and closes shut. And give it a good press. Is everybody with me on this card? Anybody have any questions about this one? And then we're just going to glue that down on the inside. And only go ahead and fold it up so that you don't get glue on the inside of your mechanism. Yes, Mom. Sue, you're so funny. Gotta love Sue. And then we're just going to get that centered in. I want it to stay. I'm going to close it. Make sure I press it down this way. I love this card. It's old, but everything old is new again. But I still love it. Several of the elements in this card are years old, but they're still fun. All right, that completes that side, guys. We're almost done, believe it or not. So we have the fourth side to go. And the next one up is going to be the shutter card. This brings back some old Stampin' Up! Memories. This is like a gatefold, so you're just going to fold both sides. And I think I missed my score line there. I did. Give me just a second, guys. I missed a score line here. Kind of almost boogered it up. See, I make mistakes too. That bone folder. Fix that. And I may have to cut another one, but we'll see. Maybe I can get it to work without messing myself up too bad. Yay, I fixed it. Okay, so you have your gatefold. And then you're going to put your panel on the inside. Get that centered in. And you know what? I need a stamp. I'm gonna have to find a stamp or something to put in this one. But put all of your little panels on. And make sure you pay attention on these panels because I forgot. These have a score line on them. There it is. And you want to make sure your score line is to the inside on both panels. There it is. Because it's important for this card. It's just a guide. You're not going to fold it, but it's just a guide of where to place your mechanism pieces. And flip it over and put these panels on the outside. These are your closing panels. Okay. And that's got your base prepared. Just going to move that to the side. And then you'll want to line up your, my dog's a little vocal. I don't know what she heard, but we're just going to line this up. And you want to take care and make sure that these pieces are lined up well. It does matter. If I can get them to line up. Seems there is a top and a bottom on that, so if it's not lining up, flip it around. I'm going to go that way with it. And then set it and let it dry. I thought I had another little circle. I think that's too big. But I used my other circle, I guess. I did. Oh, I used the wrong circle, but that's okay. Well, I'm just going to use this one and we're going to go with it. It matches, so it'll be all right. You want to take your pennant pieces, and there's a score line on there, and you do want to fold those on that score. Okay, on both pieces. And then where your score line is, you are going to, let me see if I can remember which way these go. Like, yes, that's right. It's valley folds. I had to remember. Should be valley folds. This cardstock is textured, so I want the texture up. It's up to you how you want yours. But I'm going to give mine a good fold back and forth. There we go. What am I doing? There we go. Just going to glue that edge right there, along where that scoreline guide is, okay, on the first one. And mine's hard to see with this patterned paper, so I'm going to hope that I have it in the right spot there. It looks right. Okay. And you're putting this on like this. I don't know if you guys can see that. If I get close, like this. Okay. This is the piece that you're gluing down so that it folds a valley fold in there. And let's see if I can do a small stamp really quick. If I can find something small. This stamp, guys, is a recollection stamp. I don't know how old it is. I just never used it. I think I'm going to use the, maybe the Just For You. I'm going to glue this down and see what fits. I think I can do better if I put my bead of glue along my score. It's on this printed paper. It's maybe not. You just want to make sure you get it lined up. You want these pieces to overlap. If they don't overlap, then they're going to catch on each other when you close. So you want to make sure that they do overlap one on the other. And it does, it fits. I'm going to leave it there for just a second. I am going to grab my stamping platform just so I don't mess this up on camera. Because if I try to do it, 100 times I can take and, what's going on there? I can take it and stamp it with just putting it in ink and putting it on there. But as surely as I do that, I will miss it. Live. Okay. Then I'm going to close the stamping platform and hope I don't get ink on that from that one. Peel that off before that happens. And I'm just going to use, I know this is stays on, but I'm going to use it anyway. Fold those back. Give it a stamp. Yay. Perfect. So with this one down, it doesn't matter. You can go right to left, left to right, doesn't matter. But you're going to place this piece over this now. And only at the top edges so that your mechanism will move. And get it centered up. You want your photo or whatever you put in here, your stamp, to be centered. Let it get dry. And then I am going to use this one. I want to make sure it's going a different direction than the other flowers, so I don't know if I'm going to achieve that. Doesn't blend in too much. But I'm just going to glue half the circle. Press it down. Get it to stick. And then I get these little Velcros in the sewing department at Walmart. And I'm just going to use one of these clear buttons on the bottom here. And then I'm going to peel off the other half of it, and I'm going to stick it on the clear button. These are self-adhesive, and then I'm just going to press that down. Give it a press. And then you've got a Velcro closure on this. Does anybody have any questions about the shutter card and how that works? Then you're just going to glue on the back side that has no panel. And we are going to place that right. Make sure I don't have it upside down. Yes, I've done that before. And now we have our shutter card. You like that one, Bonnie? Okay, so that one's done. Next we have the Waterfall. Hey, Rhonda. Your Waterfall card, I hope I didn't use the wrong card. I thought I had an extra one. There it is. It's going to have two slits in it, okay? So you're going to need this piece, and then you're going to need your pretty little decorative piece here. Oh yeah, it would, Bonnie. And if I have to, because this is patterned paper, I have a really hard time seeing my scores on patterned paper. I could have probably had it right in a light gold color and been fine. I think I'm hitting it, guys. If I'm off, I apologize. Let's see. There's one. I'm off camera, I know, but I want to make sure I fold these in the right spot. But you've got 4 score lines on these. And the way this paper is made where I cut it, it has some stripes on it, so that's not helping me. There's 2. There's 3. Ah, there it is. Okay, all 4 score lines. I'm sorry I had to get off camera to see those. But you have 4 score lines, and you want to score all 4 of those. Okay. And then I fold them the other way too. You want good mechanism work on these. And the white side is where I'm going to be gluing my pieces, okay? Because when they pull this out, I want the decorative side to show when they pull this. So I want the white, you want to put it in this way. If you're using a double-sided, it probably isn't going to matter, okay? So just keep that in mind. The pattern goes up. And then you have 4 panels like this. And then in the file, I did not cut these. You've got some pieces you can cut photos from. These are the panels that the photos go on, okay? So I'm just going to bring this right up to the edge of the score line. So I'm going to put my glue here on this one so I don't get it over the edge. But you want to glue right up to the score line and center it on this mechanism. And then your photo will go on top of that. And then you'll take the next panel and right up next to the score line, you're going to put a bead of glue and you're going to place this panel, keeping it in line with the other panel so that it lines up, kind of looking like one panel when it's closed, to give it that surprise element. I'm just playing around with pattern here, seeing which one looks the best. There we go, like that. And then another bead of glue right up next to the other score line. And place the next panel. And then at the last score line. I think my dog hears my glue bottle hitting the table and she thinks somebody's knocking. There's never anybody out there. So now I've got all 4 of those glued down on that white panel. And you can ink those edges if you want. Totally up to you. Now that last panel that we put on, you're going to pull this back and you're going to glue that. I'm just going to pull it out. You're going to glue it right there on that edge, just on this strip, okay? You just want to glue it on that strip. You do not want glue back here or on here. So just so you guys can see that, I'm just going to put it right here on the strip. I'm going to feed this piece back through first. Because it's easier for me that way. You may want to just do it afterwards, but it's easier for me if I do it while I'm gluing. And you just want to make sure that it's straight and give some play in that mechanism. If any squishes out, make sure you get it off. You don't want to glue that piece to the back, okay? Again, you're going to need another piece of ribbon. And we'll just run it through the heart. And then pull your tails through that loop. And tighten it up. Just snug. It doesn't have to pull tight. You don't want to tear your paper. And if you prefer bows, you can do a bow. And then you should have a piece looking like this. Okay? Now we're going to glue this inside the box, but we're only going to put glue on this panel and down here at the bottom. Do not glue the center panel. I don't have any color to show you guys. Don't glue in there. Okay? See if you guys can see that. Don't glue in that section where you can see the color on that. Just glue that bottom edge and then the main base of the card. And then you're going to place that. Is that where I put it? Right there on the second cross piece. Just kind of line it up. I think there. I'm going to put that panel right there, maybe, just to kind of decorate that up a little bit. I hope I don't need this panel for something. I think I cut enough extras, but if not, I'll cut one afterwards and put in there. I'm just giving this a second to dry, guys. Just kind of line up. Put whatever you want there. And then once your panel has dried, you're going to be able to pull this, and you're going to get that flip effect. And you can put photos on the back too. You're just going to have to cut them smaller than what these panel ones hold. Okay? So if you guys can see that or not. Let me see if I can get it to zoom in a little bit. This one's a little hard to see. Everybody see that one? Anybody have any questions on how the waterfall goes together? Again, you can put photos here, and then you can cut a smaller photo or embellish, put whatever you want on the back side so that it's pretty when it's pulling out as well. I like to do both sides on mine. Okay, and now we are at this point, and right here we're going to be putting our hidden envelope. And that piece looks like this. And you're going to fold in both tabs. This is very simple, very quick on this one. And then you have a top tab. And you're just going to fold that tab down. Okay? So it's looking like this on the inside. Okay? Now, there's a fold, there's a score line. I'm sorry, I'm off camera. My score lines are running with these lines and it makes it hard to see. I think I got it. And I like to bone fold this one down. And then you're just going to place some glue on these tabs, guys. And then fold it shut. Then that one is going to glue. I know the pretty side came out on the back, but oh well, I still like it this way too because these colors match up. Just going to glue that in there. And this is for a note, a photo. You can put cash. This will hold plenty of things. And the lines on this are cool too. You can write a note across them or put a stamp on it. And now you have a little money folder on that side. And then this will be your card front for the next card. And let me get all those pieces here. And I saved all the little pieces that I didn't use that came out of the file because you can use them to embellish with or stick on something else. You should have 3 of these transparency strips. I hope you guys can see those. And I am going to cut mine at different lengths, but I'm not going to do it yet. First thing you want to do is fold these down the center. There's a score line on them into little L shapes. Here's the other one. Glue all over my fingers. Is that too close for you guys? You want me to back it back up? This card's a little hard to see, so I thought I'd just leave it. And then you're going to take your base. Where are we? Right there. Okay. And then you should have another square, and that is going to go right here on the bottom to hide your ribbon. You can use, like I said, again, photos, anything you want to use. And just kind of center that. Actually, I want to hold that for a moment. I'm going to hold that up. I want to put this piece down first. I didn't do that on the other card and wished I had. So you want to take one of these pieces with the valley fold in it and glue just the bottom only. you want it to be able to open, and you want it right up to the score line of your base, basically. Just gluing the bottom, not the top, just the bottom. And then you want to put this piece down. And that is why it overlaps just slightly, and that's the way I wanted it, so it looked like it was cut that way, if that makes any sense. Then you're going to take this other piece and you're going to glue just one side. And you're going to glue it to this edge, but lining it up on the bottom. So I'm just going to line it up in there and then close that. Give it a press. So now I've got this split piece open right here. And I kind of missed my line a little bit. There we go. You want it to line up with the other piece. There we go. That's better. Okay, now that, and then you want to open those up. Okay, this is where your plastic strips come in. If I can hold on to them. You're going to run a bead of glue on both sides here. And then I come just about maybe, I don't know, a 1/4 inch down and stick one strip. Here's the others. And make sure they're in kind of straight. Doesn't matter. You're going to get the effect no matter how you put them in there. Just kind of distribute them. And then I'm going to give that a press down. We want them to stick together so that they stand up like that. See if you guys can see that. If I can get it to... You've got 3 little tabs sticking out there. That's exactly what you want. Just 3 of them. Then you're going to take your butterflies. And I like to glue just one. Make sure you get the tips. You want it to glue together well. And then I am going to place him on that one strip and take the other one and place over it. You can use any shape. You can use circles, squares, hearts, butterflies, whatever your theme is. Make sure that when your butterfly is closing, that it's not hanging over that top edge on your first one, okay? It's going to weight it down and it's going to fall, but that's okay. It's because this is wet. Once this dries, because we have a good amount of glue in there, once that dries and gets hard, it's going to flip up and you'll see. You can see it's already starting to come back up. But they're heavy while that glue is wet. I kind of like that one with the writing. And you can decide which way you want to do your butterflies as well. Just going to glue the one to start. If this one is not in the public file, it is a patron only. I am going to clip I'm going to clip this one off. I want it to be shorter than the others. So I'm clipping that one, and then I'm going to place this butterfly on there. And you can stagger these and do them any way you want to do them. But any of these elements can be replaced with anything. Some of them, like I said, are patron only. But there are plenty of things in the public file as well. And then the last one, I'm not going to trim it. I just wanted it almost in the same place. I think I'm going to angle that butterfly just a little different though. I made a mess there. Let's see if I can get that off. It will dry clear. That's the beauty of art glitter glue. It does dry clear. And so now you have your little floppy butterflies. But this is a very simple file, even if it is not in the Patreon file. This is a very simple file to recreate. All you have are 2 rectangles of cardstock. You have 3 rectangles of transparency in whatever shape you want. All you're doing is making an L out of those guys. That's all you're doing, is just making an L out of them, and you're gluing one side of one piece and one of the other. Then you're putting glue in the center part, putting in your clear strips, and then gluing the 2 edges together. And then you're going to put whatever you want on the ends of it. Super simple to create if it's not in the public file. And then you're just going to attach these pieces to your card front and back. That's all there is to it. Did that answer your question, Marion? If you're a Patreon, it's already in that file. If you're a Patreon, you've got everything that I've put in this box. If you're not a Patreon supporter, it can be found or made very simply, and I will help you. Just ask. I don't mind helping you. And the last thing, I'm going to put butterflies on my corners. So I'm going to fold these in half before I glue them so that I know where they need to go. And you're going to glue these on all 4 corners without getting them on the back of the file edge. Just glue the 4 butterflies down. Let me back up so you guys can see that a little bit better. I don't mean to jiggle you and make anybody seasick. I apologize. Let it focus. There we go. Okay, I'll make sure that you get it, Mary. A couple of people said they couldn't find it. I don't know why. I did post it and it's in there. I believe in the file it is red. The whole thing is red. And then there's some white strips on it. It's like the second file on the left when you open the file. As a matter of fact, I'll show it to you guys just so you know what you're looking for. I'll switch over here real quick. It's right here. This is the butterflies that I'm working on right now. That was this one right here. I missed a panel. I did miss a panel. I got a heart. I should have added one more panel. I think I cut 3 extra panels. Was that what I cut, Reba?
I think so.
I should have cut 4, but that's okay. We have extra pieces all over, and there's no need to waste them. Let's use them. And like I told you guys Wednesday, I left this. This will work for a heart shape. It works for butterflies. It works for ice cream cones. It works for 4-leaf clovers. If by chance you don't want that shape, all you guys have to do is open up the file and use a shape, and you can cut this off. You can round it, however you want to do it to make this corner the shape that you want it. If you change the weld anything on it to change the shape of it, I'm going to suggest, I got that one a little low. Don't know if I can get him off. Yeah, I can. Just make sure that you don't come over the edge of the box when you do that. I don't know if you can see, but if you change this shape at all, you don't want to be higher than the edge of your box on either side. But you can change it up, no problem. Make that any shape you want for this corner. Just want to make sure your score lines are in the right place. Hey, Wanda, I'm sorry you lost connection, honey. But that's the good thing about replay. You got that video on demand. You guys can go back and watch it. And now you guys have the explosion box. And just to recap, we have the yin-yang hearts in the middle. And then on top of that, I lost my chocolate box. There it is. In the center. And you guys can use those little Velcros tabs that I used on the other card. You can put those there. You have a shaker card here. You have the windmill. You have a chocolate here in this box. I did put a chocolate in that box. You have the shutter card on this side. And then when we flip up, on this side, let me move that, you have the flip up gift card. You have another place to put another card, and that's where those went. I had these extra circles I wanted to keep. And I said those would be cool just to pop anywhere on that file. And little round photos, anything can be put on there. And then you have your color change card here. That completes that side. You have, I'm not going to untie this ribbon, but that's the open up envelope for a photo or notes or anything you want to put. You can put whatever you want here and embellish it. I'm going to leave that one blank because I'm out of extra pieces. And then we have the pop-up thanks. And it's a little stiff. It will work itself out. The other one did this too, and it worked out. Just give it a little twist. You have the chocolate, the pop-up hello, the twist and pop, the waterfall card. You have the hidden envelope, and then you have your butterflies card. You have your shaker. What, did we miss anything? I think that's it. That's a ton. And then you have the butterflies on the corner. And again, you're just going to fold them up. It's a little tight. And then once you've got it folded, you're going to place the lid on. And the lid, we put the gardenia. When they're freshly stiff like this, guys, it can be a little snug with the lid, but as you open it and close it and play with it, it will loosen up. But everything does fit in this box. And there you have it. I ended up with one white circle left over. That's all I had. That was it. So, everybody understand? Yes, I did grow a hand, so you weren't here. My aunt is here assisting me today. This is the gardenia we did a couple of weeks ago, and I just added a different little center to it and cut it out of the same color paper from that card stack. Okay? It'll fit. They all fit. You hope it'll fit in the box. Neela won the winner chicken dinner. I'll have to glue that down better. I think I'll use hot glue for that butterfly. She won winner chicken dinner, and I said if I can get this in the box with her winner chicken dinner stuff, that she will get the box too. Yeah, Angela, it's very easy. It's a stacked flower, so it's very easy and very quick. It's just a little bit of twisting and turning the paper, that's all. You can do it out of cardstock. Does anybody have any questions? Okay, guys, I appreciate everybody joining me. Thank you to the moderators, Catherine, Sue. Thank you, Bonnie, for your help. Bonnie is one of my assembly assistants. I appreciate you. Thank you to all my Patreon supporters. And if you have any questions about anything, please just ask. Come to the Facebook groups and ask. We're here to help you. Okay? And I'll see you guys live Wednesday at 7:30. And we'll answer any design space questions, any issues you're having. We will work on any of the projects that you're having a problem with. That would be really cool, Neela. This box is very versatile. You can change it up. You can make it romantic like I did with these papers. You can do it with solid papers. You could do this in solid white for a wedding box. Everything white. How gorgeous would that be? In different shades of white, maybe inked edges. Beautiful. But you guys have a wonderful day. Have a great weekend. I'll see you over in the groups. And if you have any questions or you get stuck, don't hesitate and message me if you need to. You guys have a wonderful day. Thank you. I appreciate you all. Bye-bye.